Hello, welcome to the listening experience of TangleTales. How's it going, everybody? This is Andy. I'm back with a podcast episode of TangleTales. I'm here in my apartment, just relaxing, having some coffee at this hour in the early afternoon. But yeah, just back to give a little content for you. So today is Monday, December 19th, I believe. And this Saturday, I had my big 22-degree Tmavé release. So I just kind of wanted to do a recap on how that event went and kind of the entire week and last couple of weeks. It's been, I think, 2 weeks since I did a podcast. So, anyways, welcome in. Yeah. So I prepped all of the entire week basically was kind of dedicated to me. Oh, also for sorry to interject here for just the listeners, but if you're watching the video, I've got this like ring light set up now that I got all this like really cheap content making equipment, stand, selfie stick, that type of stuff. So I hope that maybe this is better lighting. I have no idea. We'll see how it turns out in the edit. But anyways, so I spent all last week prepping for the 22-degree Tmavé release. I'm actually going to be doing a video on the steps kind of like leading up to and executing the event for that particular release, just to give some insights into what it takes. But I had created an event a couple of weeks ago doing a big release party for the beer itself. I asked one of my regulars if he was available to play some polka music, and he's a professional musician. And he said that he would love to and see if he could recruit another one of his polka friends to come and jam out. And he ended up recruiting his father-in-law, Alfred Bragel, who is a local polka legend. So that was like a super awesome treat for Tanglefoot. So, anyways, got them booked for the date. Sent out a bunch of info what would be involved in the release. So we did the 22-degree Tmavé release on draft. We did a can release. So I created the special label that I got printed, and I ordered 16-ounce cans, the tall boy cans that I ended up filling, seaming, and then labeling. That will be a part of the video as well. And then we had I made a pot of goulash, and then I made some kolaches, which were a lot of fun. I did some trial and error, and yeah, I really really enjoyed the process. For those that don't know, I used to be I went to culinary school to be a pastry chef, and that was my career in a previous life. So it was cool to kind of like scratch that pastry itch again. But yeah, so sent all the materials out, and then ended up executing on all those things. So Wednesday came up, well, Tuesday came up and started prepping the beer, got everything in kegs, and had to troubleshoot a couple of things on the canning side. I was having some issues with my can seamer. So for anybody out there that's had, 6 packs of my cans that maybe deflated or felt soft after a couple of days, I sincerely apologize. I had some some poor seams coming out of the canning machine. I think it's probably because I've been running so many cans through there that it's just been kind of getting out of spec. But I spent an entire day on Tuesday making sure that those seams were in spec, because this beer is real special and I don't want it to be losing CO2 or leaking or anything like that. So spent the day doing that, and I might cover that in more detail in another podcast episode or a YouTube video. So stay on the lookout for that. But once I got the seamer in spec, I then canned a full half barrel's worth of 16-ounce cans. So I got about 100 and change cans out of one half barrel of stout of the 22-degree Tmavé. Got those put away in the cold room and the reach-in cooler where I keep all my beers. And then on Wednesday, I began breaking down chuck roll, which is just a big piece of meat for the goulash. So I broke that down into little half-inch pieces. Oh wait, no, I've got my dates completely messed up. Wednesday would have been too early. The event was on Saturday. That happened Friday. Sorry. Canned on Wednesday. Thursday was service. Got things kind of cleaned up and prepared for Friday. Friday came in, started prepping the goulash, broke down the chuck roll, started cooking the goulash, cooked the goulash 95% of the way, cooled it down, and then finished it off on Saturday morning. Saturday morning came in at like 7:30 and started knocking out the they're called dumplings, but it's really just it's the steamed bread that's sliced to be served with goulash. So I came in, prepped the dough for that, and got that dough proofing, and then ultimately steamed it, and then baked. Got 2 batches of kolache dough made up. The On Friday I had made an apricot puree to fill the kolaches with, and then I made a cream cheese filling for half of them the day of as well. So a lot of stuff going on, and then finally, and this is on Saturday at 7:30 till pretty much was making kolaches until 3 o'clock, which was quite stressful. So the day started of me prepping and baking and doing all that stuff. And then I open at 1 o'clock. The event wasn't until 4 o'clock. And that's when, right at 1 o'clock, I knew that I was going to be pretty overwhelmed. So I started getting customers in early, not at the event time. People were coming in early to drink the beer, which was great. So sold a bunch of sold a bunch of cans, and then sold some draft pours as well, while I was still kind of like going back and forth and portioning the kolaches, proofing them, and then ultimately baking them. So had a pretty busy service up until 3 o'clock, and then people started rolling in. So the musicians, Michael and his wife Cindy, came in, and they were kind of setting up the drum set and all the amplification and stuff like that. And then a few of the people that were coming in to see the music came in early to claim tables, and so things were just kind of like all starting to ramp up. And then from 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock, I just got my ass kicked. So luckily, my amazing girlfriend Jody came up to help me out, like at around 4 o'clock. At that point, I was already in the weeds, meaning I was just like, I had a line of people waiting to get beer. I was trying to coordinate with the musicians that were setting up. I was making sure that the goulash was tasting good and ready for service, making sure that the kolaches were out of the oven, and I was doing all of this by myself. But luckily, Jody came in. She was able to scoop goulash. So I originally had planned for everybody to come up, order goulash, and I would go and portion it and scoop it. But I was way overwhelmed with the amount of work that I had to do. So I just said, screw it, just start scooping goulash, putting it out on the kind of the service table, and just letting people grab it, and then telling them to come tell me that they got one, using an honor system, because it just was too much to have people come up, order, and then go back and forth. So I was that was one bottleneck, and then the other bottleneck was I only have a certain number of glasses that I can keep on hand, clean, ready to go, and I ran through about half to 3/4 of the entire stock before the event even started. So I ended up having to like clean glasses in between just to keep up, and then Jody eventually jumped on that and stocked me with clean glasses. But the event was awesome. I didn't have any time hardly to capture any video. I was planning on filming the whole thing and doing a whole YouTube produced video, or a well produced video on YouTube about it, but I caught maybe 2 minutes of video, and the entire time I was just nonstop working. So it was pretty hectic and crazy, but it ultimately was an awesome event. It was like the most sales I'd ever done by twofold. Yeah, which was pretty nuts. And then I also had some cans that I pre-sold the day before. I had put the cans online for pre-sale for some customers that weren't able to come in during the event. So I sold quite a few of those, and some t-shirts and socks and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty eventful day. It was hectic to say the least, but that's kind of where I thrive as far as service is concerned. I like to be busy and just kind of like pouring beer nonstop. Once the event was over, kind of cleaned up, went home, decompressed, and then came back the next day and really cleaned up everything. I had a bunch of dishes and stuff that I left, and yeah, overall, pretty long week, but really, really awesome event. Shout out to Michael Morris and Alfred Bragel for playing some really great music. All the people that they brought out, from, like these kind of like older Czech folks that were dancing around, listening to the polka, having a good time. It was really, really cool. So I hope to do something like that again in the future, and we'll need to make some more beer. So now I am addressing the beer situation. I have a lot more on my mind right now. I just wanted to cover this event and kind of how that whole week went, and then I'll add some more details in the video on YouTube. But just wanted to give a little update here on the podcast. Thank you for everybody that listens and is telling their friends about it. Seems like more people are listening, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I am I've got some other exciting news, which I will probably again detail in a YouTube video. But I purchased a screen printing press, and I am screen printing some unique items of clothing. So I will be posting some of those for sale on the website in the future. The goal is to go and like hunt for some really cool or just like really neat looking vintage or just like used clothes at Goodwill that are just like blank tees or jackets or whatever, and then printing the logo, and then I can have unique one-off clothing. Like I have one XL, but pearl snap denim button up that has the Tanglefoot logo on it, stuff like that. So that's kind of the short term goal for the merch program, just so I can get some new interesting stuff out for the people that have been asking for it. And then yeah, so I'm gonna go work on that in a couple hours here at the apartment later today, and just prepping for Christmas. I'll be closed Christmas Day. It's on a Saturday, but I'll be open Thursday and Friday. So hopefully we get some families out that are looking to drink some beers before the holiday. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. But I appreciate everybody that's listening, watching the content, and hopefully I will be back on here in the next week or so. But cheers, na zdrowie. I'll have a great day.